Hey guys, it is Jen Lefforge here. Welcome to my channel. I'm Jen, and here we talk about running, travel, Walt Disney World, and what we're going to talk about today is Disney Vacation Club. So if you are interested in those things, I hope that you will like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that little bell notification so that you don't miss a thing. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'm so glad that you guys are here, and I am so grateful for all of your encouragement, comments, and support. So thanks for being here, you guys. So this video has been kind of twirling around in my head. It was actually suggested to me by one of you guys in my 1,000 subscriber giveaway video, and the suggestion was, can you talk a little bit about how your vacations have changed since becoming Disney Vacation Club members? And I thought that was such a great question, and I've been thinking about it ever since, and there are quite a few ways that our vacations have changed. And it's not that we didn't take vacations at Walt Disney World before we joined DVC. We absolutely did. We had been going annually for many years, but for sure some things have changed now that we are kind of committed and we own a little piece of the Disney magic. So I'm going to go over all of those ways that our vacations have changed, kind of starting in order through our planning process, through how we pack, how we tour the parks, and kind of how our attitude has changed a little bit towards Disney World. So I hope you'll stick around. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the difference in how we plan our vacations. Now with Disney Vacation Club, you do need to be a planner. You will have the best use of your membership if you can plan at least 7 months out. The window for your home resort opens at 11 months out, and at 7 months out, you can book at any other Disney-owned Disney Vacation Club property. In our case, our home resort is Vero Beach. So the years that we're going to Vero, we like to go during Thanksgiving, so I've usually planned that well in advance. And the years that we're going to Walt Disney World, I always am on the phone or online right at 7 a.m. when member services opens on our 7-month booking window, so I can make sure I get exactly the reservation that we want. So we are definitely now conditioned to plan our vacations much further in advance. The other thing I would say about that is, before, we might plan our vacations in advance, but if something came along, like one year our air conditioner went out, and another year we needed a new car unexpectedly, when those things happen, we usually would end up canceling, sadly, our Disney vacation. But now that we are paying those dues every year, if we've scheduled a vacation, unless there's some family emergency, we're going. So our finances in any particular year may affect how we go. We may eat at, fewer sit-down restaurants. We may cook more in the villa, and I'm going to talk about that option in just a minute. So there are things that we will change about our vacation if it's a lean money year. The boys are all three going to be in college here next year, so that may change how we vacation a little bit. But the room itself and that time at Walt Disney World is going to happen no matter what, because we're paying those dues, and we want to make sure that we get to take advantage of those dues each and every year. It's kind of like now our vacations are guaranteed to happen, and personally, I love that, because life is very uncertain, as we know, but I know that for the most part, my Disney vacation is always going to happen. So that's the number one thing that has changed. The number two thing that has changed is how we pack. When we go to pack for our Disney vacations now, it's very different staying in a villa as opposed to staying in a hotel room. And even if you're staying in the studio, you have a kitchenette, you have access to free laundry, although you don't have the unit right there in your room. But I find myself, we will take fewer clothes because I know that we have access to laundry facilities, so that's a big deal. I've also noticed that we can get by with taking more snacks and things like that. My coffee, I am kind of a coffee snob, so I'm gonna make sure that I take my coffee that I like. I know what kind of filters are in the DVC coffee makers. The regular hotel rooms now have all kind of moved to those pod coffee makers, but the DVC resorts still have traditional coffee pots. So with an exception of a couple of the studios, I know at least the 1 bedrooms and larger all have a traditional coffee pot. So I can kind of have that thinking in my head and I get everything packed. You know, little things like I always take my portable Disney coffee mug, because one of my favorite things in the world on a DVC vacation is to sit out on my balcony and drinking my coffee. And before, like if we were staying at a moderate or a value, I might not even have a balcony to sit out and drink my coffee on. So definitely the way that I pack. I would also say that we have acquired quite a bit of kind of DVC swag, so that's always going to my bag. So it makes my wardrobe choices a little bit easier because I have all my shirts and hats and things like that that I know that I want to take into the parks, as well as my bag problem, which we don't even need to talk about, my DVC Dooney and Bourke bag problem, because that's kind of a big deal. But you know, it's just nice to know, here's my gear. You know, people who camp all the time will tell you the same thing. You do the same type of vacation over and over again, you get pretty good at packing. You know exactly what needs to go in your bag. You've got a rhythm and a routine, and it makes that piece of it just a lot less stressful. So that's a really good benefit of being DVC members, and really anybody who goes to Disney on a regular basis. The third thing that has really changed for us is our dining. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that we do like doing the Disney dining experiences all throughout Walt Disney World. We like sitting down at a table service restaurant if we can afford it at least once a day. It's a big part of our family vacation. But the rest of the time, if we're in a one bedroom or larger, certainly, and typically even if I'm by myself in a studio, I'm having breakfast in the room. I just don't want to waste that valuable park time. So I'm probably gonna have Cliff Bars, maybe bagels, maybe Pop-Tarts, just something quick and easy that I can have in the room before we head out to the parks. And then even for lunchtime and snacks, if we're traveling during a really busy time of the year, like this last year we went during Thanksgiving, we're typically always taking a break in the middle of the day. And so quite frequently we will go ahead and have lunch back at the hotel room, you know, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I will have, you know, peanut butter and jelly available and all of those kinds of things to make a quick lunch, sometimes frozen pizzas. We always have microwave popcorn in the room. And then the years where it's been really lean, I've actually cooked in our villa many times. And even when we've gone during Thanksgiving, I have cooked a Thanksgiving dinner ish. We ordered the turkey, but I did make the mashed potatoes and the deviled eggs, and I did all of that right there in our 2-bedroom villa at Old Key West. So that was a really fun thing to do. And you do have that option of a full kitchen. So if you're a large family and maybe that year finances are a little tight or you just don't want to spend the money, I find this to be true, especially if you have babies or really young children that maybe aren't going to want to sit through a meal. Maybe they get sick of eating out all the time. You can make whatever you make typically at home right there in your villa, because you have an oven, you have a stove, you have a microwave, you have a full-size refrigerator, and really all of the utensils that you could possibly need to make that meal. So our dining has definitely changed since we became Disney Vacation Club members. The other thing we've really noticed is the way we tour the parks. We know we're gonna go back. So I don't have ever this feeling of, oh my gosh, we have to see and do everything because who knows when we're gonna get back here. We know we're gonna come back next year. So although we do have our favorites and we're gonna reserve those fast passes well in advance, and we're gonna make sure that we get to see everything we wanna see, if something is down for refurbishment, or maybe the line is really long or whatever, we couldn't get a fast pass, whatever the case may be, we're not stressed thinking we have really missed out because we know we're coming back next year. So we have changed from kind of more of a commando touring family to more of sort of a sauntering touring family. We kind of wander around and maybe, you know, grab a snack, and there's not this super stressed push to get everything done anymore because we've been so frequently that it really can become a far more relaxing experience for us. And we're also far more likely to do things outside of the parks, whether that be going to Disney Springs, maybe at Christmas time, touring the resorts. This last time that I was there, I took the boat over to Fort Wilderness. I'll put a link to that right there because I was by myself that day, and that was a super fun day. Those are not things I think we would have done before we were DVC members. Number one, I'm not even sure we knew that that was something you could do. And number two, I think we just would have been so focused on this sort of checklist of things that we needed to get done in the parks. And it just doesn't feel that way for us anymore. It's just a much more relaxed and, to me, more enjoyable vacation because I don't have all of that pressure on me to get it all done. So that's been really nice since we've become DVC members. And then lastly, I want to talk about how our attitudes have changed, not only towards our accommodations, but toward Walt Disney World in general. For the most part, it's been so much better. We really feel part of this community of Disney Vacation Club members. I'm part of a couple of Facebook groups. You do feel like you're kind of one big neighborhood. You kind of talk about, you know, what rooms are the best and where did you eat and how was that experience and what cast members were great. And certainly when you're in the parks, if I see someone on the monorail or on the bus and they've got their Disney Vacation Club bag or whatever with them, I'm gonna be asking, you know, what's your home resort? How long have you guys been members? And we're gonna have all those fabulous conversations. In fact, I'm really looking forward to that at Moonlight Magic that we're doing here in just a couple of weeks at Epcot. But the other thing that I've really noticed is sort of how we view the magic. In the past, I might see something that wasn't really up to par, and I would either just kind of internally gripe about it or I would just blow it off. Now I'm far more likely to go find a cast member and point it out because I want us to be the best that we can be. And I know in a way that might be kind of silly, but this is, I own a piece of this and I have a real sense of community and neighborhood. So last November when we were there, the bathroom by Storybook Circus, the trash was overflowing. It was a complete disaster. The bathroom was just filthy dirty. And normally I would just gripe. Instead, I went and found the bathroom attendant and I explained the situation to her, and she said that the person that was supposed to show up hadn't shown up. I actually took the extra step of going and finding a manager for that part of the world. I think they had a walkie-talkie or there was something that made me think they were in charge, and I expressed it to them as well. Not because I wanted anything in return, but because I wanted them to know, listen, this experience is not up to par, and I know if you knew about it, you would fix it. So that part of things has changed. Also, when we leave our hotel room now, if something isn't working, the air conditioner, or I guess it was the heater when we were at the Boardwalk Villas in January, it was brand new and it was making this really loud knocking noise. And I could have just turned the heater off. We actually would have been fine without it. But I went ahead and called maintenance up because I have this attitude of, you know what, there's gonna be another DVC member in this room and they have no way of knowing that things don't work if we don't tell them. If maybe a villa is missing some of the kitchen things or things like that, I will always call down to the front desk and let them know before I leave. Now, should I be doing that in a regular hotel room? Yes, that is the appropriate thing to do. But there's something about owning part of that magic that makes you feel, I guess, entitled, but also just part of a larger community. And I really, really like that. So bottom line, since we became DVC members, have our vacations changed? Absolutely they have. But in my view, they have changed in only the best of ways. My kids really look at Disney World as their own personal playground. We like to say that Disney is our lake house. They know where everything is. They know what to do. They know which resorts they love. We're even starting to have cast members that we see year after year that we feel like we have a relationship with. And it's kind of just our playground and the place that we love to go. Do we go other places for vacation too? Absolutely. Our family travels quite a bit. So it isn't like, you know, we only go to Disney, but Disney is definitely the place where I feel like I can relax and know that we are gonna have a fabulous experience. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, subscribe. If you're a DVC member, have you noticed your vacations changing since you joined DVC? And if you're thinking about DVC, what questions do you have? Because if I can't answer them, I know someone else here would love to jump in. I hope you guys have a magical day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.